welcome. I just wanted to share this video of this 1984 Golf GTI that I purchased. Bought it off a guy, had it sat for a long time. Been used as a parts car over the years. I've dragged it out and I've got it back into the storage yard and just trying to decide what I'm going to do with it. Thinking of turning it into a bit of a racer, but we'll see. Anyway, here it is. The worst part of it is the floors, because it's been sat for such a long time. Water's leaked into it and rusted the floors from the inside. So as you can see, it's pretty crispy. The driver's side window is actually left open the whole time, so it's just propped open with prop closed with a stick now. I did rip the dash out of it because it had absolutely full of mouse poo and mouse nests. It was all full of water as well when I got it, because it had been leaking through the sunroof. Passenger footwell is the worst. A lot of this is just rust colour from the water. Underneath it's fairly solid up until about here, where it starts to get a bit crunchy. So yeah, I need to weld a new floor into it. The back rear floors aren't too bad. It's just a little bit of a hole there. Same on that side. The back has got quite a bit of surface rust, but I think it's still savable. I basically ripped out all the headlining because there was a mouse nest inside it, and it absolutely stank of mouse pee-pee. There's a bit more rust there where the windscreen is. But basically I'm thinking leave it stripped out. I don't have much of the interior. I've got like the rear seat and the passenger seat. Everything else is missing, so I think it'd be probably it would be nice to have it restored back to original, but I just think it's going to be too much of a job to do. So I think the best thing for this car is to keep it stripped out, put a couple of bucket seats in it, and maybe do an engine conversion. I mean, my dream would be to have it four-wheel drive with a VR6 turbo, 12-valve turbo. But those engines are quite hard to get hold of these days, so I might go down the 20-valve turbo route, front-wheel drive, because they're good, you know, readily available, and they give good power. It's an early GTI, so it's got like the non-indicators on the side. These lovely wheels. You see how long it's been sat for. Look at the state of the brakes. The guy did crash it back in 2003 and then parked it up, so it's had a bit of a ding on the front left. It hasn't been written off as such. It can still be put back on the road. I have replaced the bonnet because I had a spare bonnet in the same colour, amazingly, and the slam panel I've changed as well. So yeah, I've changed the slam panel and I put a new bonnet on it. Still the same bumper, so you can see where the damage was. Pardon me. It's still quite straight though. I mean, it didn't have a really bad whack. The original engine with the K-Jet, as you can see, it's very crusty because it's been sat for such a long time. Like I said, it's been sat since 2003. You can see the state, it's very crusty. I have tried turning it over with a socket and it only turns so far before stopping and back the other way, so I think either the cam belt is snapped or it's just rusted inside the bores and won't go past that point. I haven't really investigated it too much because, like I say, I'm going to be doing an engine conversion on it, so I won't be running this engine anyway. But I might potentially tear it down just for curiosity, just to see what's happened to it, because I mean he did say he parked it up as a runner. Whether he's telling the truth or not, or whether it's just because it's been sat for such a long time. I think you know, moisture works its way into the bores and it might be rusted up on inside the bores. It's quite solid on the seals, amazingly, because it's been off the road for such a long time. The exhaust is hanging down underneath, so I'm wondering if obviously that's probably let in quite a bit of moisture and it's worked its way up into the engine. It's not too bad underneath. I mean, yeah, the floors do need welding. I quite like the ratty look of it. You know, it's an old Survivor. I quite like the ratty look. I taped up the sunroof because that was leaking quite badly. I have got it under cover anyway. But yeah, most of the water is obviously coming through here, and you can see the hole down there. So the water's worked its way in. There was no scuttle panel on here, so obviously it's been open to the elements for nearly 20 years. It's quite a big project to take on, but I think it's going to be worth it. Definitely going to be worth it. It's fairly solid. The battery tray isn't actually too bad at all, really. There's a little hole there, but the actual battery tray is pretty solid, which on these, as you know, can rust out quite bad. The front mount is seen better days. So that's the cross members totally had it. Strange engine mount on this as well, because it's an early GTI. It's got a very different engine mount to my other Mark IIs. As you can see, quite a bit of surface rust. The chassis legs are actually a little bit rotten, as you can see down there. But you know what, I've welded those before, it's not too bad. That one there is in better condition. But yeah, look at the state of this engine. Look at that water pump. Nice. Just years of neglect. Years of neglect. Still got the original gearbox with the shift light connector. On the early GTIs, you have a shift light on the clocks, so that's what that's for. You won't see that on any other GTI other than the early Mark II GTI. So yeah, some rare parts on the car. But yeah, look at the state of that cross member. This side, the floor is a lot worse. If you look underneath, you can see. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely seen better days. But like I say, that's rusted out from where it's been sat. Because it's been sat for such a long time and, like I say, open to the elements. And the scuttle panel inside the rain tray was missing. So all the water's just been leaking in through the heater inlet and just rusted out the floor from the inside. Crazy, eh? But I have literally just picked up some floor pans in my little run around here. So yeah, there is a full set of floor pans which I'll weld into the car when I get it back to my workshop. At the moment it's just this in a secure storage yard, so I've just got it in a storage yard at the moment because I haven't got any space in my workshop because I've got my other two cars I'm working on at the moment. So this one is just waiting its turn really, so I will get round to it. I mean, it'd be a shame not to do something with it because it's such a cool car. Like I say, being an early model as well, it just makes it a bit more special, I think. These early ones, you've got the quarter windows in the front and look a lot like a Mark 1 Golf GTI because of the stripes on the side. And it would have had a real nice black interior to match the stripes. There is a guy selling a full interior for one of these, and he's actually breaking an identical car, but the kind of money, you know, you could spend on the interior is like double what I paid for the car. And I've already got two really nice Golfs with interiors, so I'm thinking with this, just a couple of bucket seats in the front will do, and have it as a bit of a stripped out kind of race car kind of vibe, I reckon. I used to have a 16 valve years ago which was in a similar kind of condition, and I did a similar thing with it really, so I was kind of reliving those days really. Old school smoked rear lights. These lights have actually been painted, they're not actually genuine 16 valve lights. I don't know if you can see, they've actually just been painted. It's an old school mod back in the day. I open the boot. You can see the full interior of the car. So yeah, the spare wheel has got a bit of a hole there. The rear valance, there's a little bit crispy down here. Still got the original sticker, which is really interesting, so if anyone knows the spec of that, there it is. But yeah, I think it's going to need a bit of welding for sure, definitely welding. Luckily I can weld, and the rear turrets are pretty good actually, there's no rust around those. Same again there, that one's really good. And it's got the rear washer bottle in the back there because it's an earlier car. I think most of the rust has come from where water's actually been leaking into the car from where it's been sat, rather than rust from it being on the road. Yeah, it's all pretty good in there as well. A bit dirty, but I did clean the car when I first got it, but it was in a real poor state. Yeah, single exit exhaust, which is cool, which you had on the early GTIs. You didn't have the double exhaust like you do on the newer ones. Under here, yeah, that's all pretty crusty. But you know what? it's still savable in my eyes. Rust is weight reduction, right? Which is what you want on a race car. Weight reduction. A bit of weight reduction right there. Yeah. Nice. Quick release door handles. Let's get you back in focus again. Yeah, so I did actually rip the dashboard out because, like I say, it was quite in poor condition and absolutely covered in mouse poo. I think some of the wiring has been cut, so that'll be fun, trying to figure that out. It has had the stalks taken out of it as well. I'm not sure if there's some sort of a bearing that's meant to go on there. I can't remember what goes on there without looking at my other car, but I have got the steering wheel for it, so I can still move it around. But yeah, it's missing all the stalks, and like I say, annoyingly, the loom has been cut in some places, so whoever was taking the parts out of the car was just cutting things out of it. I think that's for the ignition there, isn't it? I think probably something like that. I have removed the fuse board because, again, that was absolutely covered in mouse poo, so I've got that back in my workshop. But yeah, I think when I ripped out the heater box because that was completely rusted through and just absolutely had it. Yeah, the sunroof is seized, so that's not moving anywhere, and it's got a bit of rust around it as well. I might end up chopping all that out because you can actually cut the whole sunroof mechanism out of the car. Because I'll probably put a roll cage in here as well, I think, at some point. So yeah, like I say, it's not going to be a full restoration. It's just going to be a bit of a ratty, fun car, really. I'm not going to. It's going to be a budget car. I don't want to go too crazy with pumping money into it. I'm just going to keep it looking rough and ready, but do all the welding. And I think most of the money is going to go on the engine conversion. So I would like to get some sort of turbocharged engine in here, like a 20 valve turbo. I think is probably going to be the way to go. I'd love a VR6 turbo, but I think they're quite hard to get hold of, really, all the parts. So 20 valve turbo's easier to get hold of, more available. So I think that's the way I'm going to go in this car. 20 valve turbo, stripped out, track car. Oh god, I think that was the stick holding the window up. Yeah, that'll be the stick holding the window up. We don't want to lose that. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Oh yeah, retro alarm system from way back. Yeah, so I don't really do YouTube, but I thought I'd give it a go because this kind of stuff's interesting, right? Let me know what you think. If you're interested, I've got other cars I'm working on as well, so just wanted to show this car off a little bit because it's quite interesting. There we go. Thanks for watching.